Welcome back to Wrestling Brain. I'm Josh Custodio here for a WrestleKingdom 19 review, and I am joined by
preview.
What did I say?
Review.
Okay, review. Like you said, you know him from so many things. He's the bass player of the frankly exploding Hotel Mira.
Try it.
Opening for Our Lady Peace. That's big for me. Opening for OLP.
It's fun. It will be fun.
You know him. I think we've talked New Japan on this program a million times. I think this is our 1 millionth episode together. You know him for looking adorned beautifully in a New Japan tracksuit. Mike Noble in the house. Watch your mouth. Hi, Mike. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. Sorry for interrupting the intro.
No, it's good, man. If I drop the ball that hard,
yeah,
I'm going to go out there and lash myself, man. I was raised Catholic. I'm setting myself on fire for that one.
You know, those are the rules.
Yeah, those really are the rules. Mike, it is WrestleKingdom season. Now, I just did my top 10 favorite federations of all time list with Mr. Ferguson. If you haven't watched that, spoiler alert, New Japan was my favorite federation of all time. I gave it the #1 spot, and I thought a lot about that list, which was, I know. I didn't really see it coming either.
Enochiism survived, like it put it through?
Somehow.
Did you go like full Josh and you're like, well, I do love MMA, so I'm kind of into Enochiism. I'm sorry, I this is me exposing that I haven't listened to it yet. But
no, first of all, everybody knows you don't watch any of the stuff, so that's fine. And two, listen, Enochiism is insanely stupid, but it's rooted in something good. Like, Enochi, he just goes too far. Not to make this preview about Enochiism, but like, the idea of MMA is on the rise. We should probably make our guys look more serious is good. We should send Yuji Nagata to fight Fedor and Crow Cop is bad. Very misled.
I love that it made your #1.
But WrestleKingdom for me, Mike, is just like such a... Like, the year has started. I love WrestleKingdom. I love the season looking up to it. This 1-2 punch with Dynasty. This is more exciting than Christmas to me, than any wrestling show has been for the last little while. I've been talking about how excited I am for this Friday, Saturday 1-2 punch we're getting this weekend for what feels like months now. Mm-hmm. Where is your excitement level, Mike? And talk to me about your relationship with New Japan in general as we are jumping into Kingdom 19 here.
I mean, I think my relationship with New Japan starts kind of at the same time yours did, in terms of just like, New York's fading. What's the alternative? Jericho's over there. Yep. Why don't we go see him? Kind of thing. And then you
just go to WrestleKingdom 12 without being we watched New Japan shows, but I know way more about New Japan now than when we went.
Yeah, it was exciting and it feels fresh, and like I mean I've been an avid New Japan diehard basically since we went there, and like you said, I was familiar with it beforehand, Nakamura AJ at WrestleKingdom before they jumped ship and stuff like that. Like all those matches are. Yeah, exactly. Like you're on the pulse of it, but then as soon as you immediately dive into it, it's like, holy shit, this is a whole new world. And because we're wrestling diehards, it's easy. The nomenclature, you can pick things up easier.
I can say last names like Ishii. That was new for me after being a New Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
How about now, Mike? Because I think fair to say 18 WrestleKingdom 12 is 2018 WrestleKingdom 12, a real high point for the company. I think a lot of people of our ilk's interest. Some down years. They've lost Okada and Ospreay this year, granted to AEW, where I also watch them, so I'm not really missing them. But where are you with New Japan right now? Where do you feel like they are relative to their peak? So
this is a perfect time for me to dispel that I do watch some of the shows, and I did watch your year-end review.
There we go.
And I agree. I don't agree that New Japan was my Federation of the Year like you did, but I am happy that you acknowledged it, because I do think they're having a great year. Completely genuinely, I think I love when federations or companies have this ecosystem where they just have a bunch of guys who need to prove themselves to be the top guy. It's probably suck shit for buy rates, it probably sucks shit for live attendance, but I don't give a fuck about that. I want to see good wrestling. And when people are trying, that's when the wrestling's good. You know what I mean?
Who's trying harder than some of the young people in New Japan right
exactly.
Now?
It's there is an open slot. There's legitimately we're gonna get to Gabe Kidd, of course, but Gabe Kidd knows there's a future top Gaijin spot prime for the taking, and there is a future ace spot for like a native Japanese wrestler, that needs to be occupied, and you have so many people fighting for both of
So
those
many.
spots, and it's
Even the
exciting to
next
watch.
Hiromu, like I feel like Kosei
Oh
Fujita
yeah,
is like in that realm. Like you can really see these steps coming
yeah,
together.
100%, and
And a return to one night Wrestle Kingdom. I know Dynasty sort of cheats it, and two
yeah,
block G1. Those two
yeah.
changes alone get me like thinking New Japan's in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. And like the G1 this year was electric. Like it was so good. Like so many breakout stars like Olton Bole or Bolton Oleg.
No one knows. There's no
Yeah,
way to
yeah.
know what way you say that guy's name.
Yeah, like we know his real name, we know his ring name. I don't know what we're going with here.
I say Oleg Bolton, but
Oleg Bolton. Well, like it's like it's the Japanese thing, or like Okada Kazuchika, right? So it's just like, are they just like? But they don't normally do that for
you want me on air saying
non.
Bolton San? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, well, if it don't government name him if he doesn't want it. No, no, no. But yeah, like all jokes aside, New Japan was electric this year. Like genuinely like, and like if you talk about like moments and highs, like Zack Sabre Jr. winning the title, Ryan Schaap just like being in the picture, like like watching his wife.
That genuinely is an amazing moment.
Watching his wife Zach have lust in his eyes for Amanda. And
who could blame her? It's funny, Mike, because you talk about like this active competition for spots, and I just feel like you can see that not only on the page but also on the screen with New Japan right now. And like the most interesting match besides, and we'll talk about Dynasty after this as a Kingdom preview, but of the weekend outside of Omega and Kid for me is Shooter Zack Sabre Jr. This match that I feel like some other people are a little bit cold on, and it's because I'm a huge geek. There is what the match is going to be. Yeah. And that's one part of my enjoyment. And I think they are going to have a really good match. But there's this whole other thing where New Japan clearly wants Shooter to be the guy more than they want Tsuji or Uemura to be the guy. They give Shooter a lot more opportunities, a lot more focus, whether it be with John Moxley or more engagement with Zack Sabre Jr. than his compatriots. But man, he's got oil right on his tail. He's got... like I said, Uemura is going to be returning soon. Tsuji doesn't quite feel like the guy right now, but a couple good matches, he could be right there. And then you have the class behind them. So I just find all that really interesting, and the moving pieces. I love that book Ganbaru about the All Japan Exodus to Noah and what All Japan is left to do with, okay, well, we'll bring back Tenru, and then it's all young guys, and it's young guys return. This is the plan. I love that stuff. And I feel like we're watching it live with New Japan right now. Who is the guy? Who's going to be Masawa? Who's going to be, it's fun to watch.
And that's why, okay, like we shit on, like, I think New Japan's booking has been shit on pretty, not consistently, but it just has been over the past few years, right?
Barely
like just because,
in cases.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I think Gedo has done brilliantly is that he has created an ecosystem, which I wish Tony Khan could learn from this, but I understand why it's not happening in the way that it is in New Japan. There's been so many surprise title switches, and this is even still through Okada having like a 7 million year reign, where when you do matches like Tsuji coming back and he first challenges Sonata for the title, and it's his first match back from excursion, you're like, he could win this. Like there was, and like that's the same thing with Shooter and Zach right now. We'll probably get into that. We'll obviously get into that match later, so I won't give my predictions, but like, it's not a Zack Sabre Jr. layup, and it's also not a moment where you could crown Shooter either. So it's like, that's why it's interesting. But because of how Gedo books, you don't know who's actually going to win,
Yeah, it is extremely funny that Tony Khan is more obsessed with the Okada style of reign than New Japan is. Like, New Japan did it, had record business with it, and is not returning to it.
Even in Okada's reign, like, one of my examples of like Okada beating Naito at WrestleKingdom 12 is like an example of like kind of crazy booking, because
everyone in that house thought Naito was winning.
Yeah, people were crying. Sad Naito at the train station. That was just him, because he lost.
Matt Prince legitimately thought that was Naito. That is the funniest thing.
So good.
For those who don't know, I talk about this. Mike and I have done an episode with our friend Jameson where we talk about that trip. It's behind the paywall if you want to check it out. But I took a picture with this very small guy, older Japanese man, dressed as Naito. Yeah. And I posted it and said, hey, I met Tetsuya Naito at the train station. And Matt, for years, actually thought that this old sad guy was Naito. And he's like, I never understand. You guys always think he's like this big star. He kind of looks just like a one day, like
just
years later, like, that's not actually Naito.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, Matt, you. Anyways,
Incredibly funny.
It's great. It's a good bit. Good bit.
Do you agree? We're entering this card both from a point of quality matches, but also ascension and what's next and all these sort of fun things.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it's exciting.
Well,
and it's also exciting because it's WrestleKingdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's get to
Let's do it.
Let's jump into this card, one match at a time. Start at the bottom and move to the top. It kicks off with the New Japan Rambo. Mike, I will not be watching this and I'll be ignoring it because I feel like they will signal the main event winner if Tai Chi wins this Rambo, and I see he's in it.
Well, like I'm sure you read the updates on it, right?
No. Or I don't know.
Well, okay, so like previously it was for the King of Pro Wrestling title, and like the final four would go. So now Great-O-Khan has retired that title, which is good. And then now the winner of the Rambo, real fucking Double or Nothing 2019 energy, the winner of the Rambo gets a title shot.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like they would want Tai Chi as a defense for Zack Sabre Jr. given their Dangerous Tekkers history. And it would give Tai Chi's like a Rambo level guy who has main evented smaller shows as a title challenger position 1,000,000 times. I feel if Tai Chi wins this Rambo, Zack Sabre Jr. is for sure winning. And when I look at the list of the guys in the Rambo, I'm like, Tai Chi could definitely win this. So I'm going to just be ignoring this result throughout the night.
Where is the list of the guys in the Rambo? Is that available?
Yeah, I think it was on medium.com. They had like 4 announced people on the official New Japan.
Okay. Because like there's a couple people left off the card. Like, like I think Sonata is like a pretty big front runner for this.
I think he's announced for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not on the main card, which is like crazy.
Dude, he's world champ at last year's WrestleKingdom.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insane.
Main card pre-show, dude.
Yeah, like Great-O-Khan, like Gabe Kidd's probably going to be in it. Like I don't think he's going to be sitting. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really
much better Rambo than they usually are. At least more stacked with names.
Yeah, and
the
like
biggest pops at the show we went to for the Rambo were Jushin Thunder Liger, Cheeseburger, and Scott Norton. Those were the Rambo participants.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scott Norton was pretty fucking electric. Let's not
I
doubt.
can't believe of everything I saw that night. Maybe the number one lasting thing is, oh my god, people in New Japan know who Scott Norton is very well here.
Who was the MMA fighter that only you popped for?
Oh god,
I can't remember. He was like the surprise entrant, and I remember someone was just like, "Oh yeah, so the first show that has Chris Jericho as an international audience as surprise guest in the Rambo is just like this Japanese shoot fighter that like 4 people in." Yeah. Anyways,
I remember this happening. So that's the Rambo. That's gonna be on the kickoff show, and then anything you want to say about the Rambo beyond my complaints about don't have Tai Chi win?
I'm gonna go with Sonata. Like if we're doing predictions,
nice.
I know Zack Sabre Jr. and Sonata have like an unbelievably storied history. I'm pretty sure one of his most recent defenses was actually just against Sonata, so I might be shooting myself in the foot here. But I'm gonna lock it in. I'm gonna say Sonata wins it.
Even just from a standpoint of this guy was our world champion and now he is in the Rambo, giving him the win probably isn't the worst idea here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go with a pick. How can I pick something where I don't know everybody in it?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be Sonata.
12.
I think it'll be one of the unannounced guys. How's that, everybody? Fill out your pick'em sheets.
Yeah.
I won't include this one in the pick'em. It'll start here with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships up for grabs. It's the Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida. Kevin Knight apparently is contract up with New Japan very soon. That's somebody I hope AEW takes a peek at.
I agree.
The Ichiban Sweet Boys. I didn't know that Kosei. So I say Fujita when I see Kosei's last name, but on all the calls they call him Fujita. I've never heard it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I was gonna say NHL players change how they pronounce their last name all the time.
Do they?
Oh yeah, it's weird. Zach Parise going to Parisi. Insane. Anyways.
Madness. Teaming with Robbie Eagles, they're the Ichiban Sweet Boys. They're taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs here, Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors. And then the team of TJP and Francesco Akira. Don't need to linger on this match too long, Mike. Well in the tradition of the 4-way juniors locking up at WrestleKingdom. This will be fun to watch, I'm sure. But if I'm napping before this show, I might even time out Okay, I had to wake up 20 minutes into it in the names of missing this. Any things besides the Kevin Knight takeaway for you here?
I mean, I think the Ichiban Sweet Boys are going to take it. I do think like the War Dogs are probably going to like have the most promise out of anyone in the match in terms of this like start. It's also a ladder match, which I
Yeah.
think is cool. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see how New Japan does a ladder match. I think Drilla Maloney is moving up to heavyweight soon because I don't know if you've seen pictures of him recently, but if it was like announced tomorrow that there was like a world steroids shortage, I'd be like, here's this guy, here's this man's
Go to his
Instagram.
garage.
Like, yeah, don't worry, guys, I solved this case.
You're saying he has Brian Cage on speed dial.
Dude, he did this like because I follow wrestlers. He has like a 6-pack on his back. It's fucked.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely electric, but it's still fucked.
I love when guys get on tons of steroids, and now he just needs to start, as our dear friend Mr. Ferguson says, wrestling fucked, and we'll be really in business.
Dude, yeah, he's like 80% of the way there. But yeah,
dude, I don't know what they're doing in the War Dogs, man. They are an unhinged bunch. They are steroid reckless go guys. I love them.
Yeah. It's sick. And then there's Sonata. But yeah, TMDK, Ichiban Sweet Boys. I think Fujita, I think he's the only person in this entire match who has never held the IWGP Tag Team title. Because like Kevin Knight and Kushida are champion. Yeah, and then Robbie Eagles for sure has won it before. Yeah. Like he had the
LP.
Either LP or Osprey. Because remember they had that like little team for a bit. So I think that might be a good moment. I was going to say Fujita also the only Japanese person in this match, but also Kushida is. So
yeah, I can't forget our man Time Splitter. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Fujita is somebody that they clearly have a booking eye on. Even on the New Japan Strong America shows, he gets moments to shine in singles action, and it just seems like this would be a good place to put a little feature on him.
Completely agree.
But I do want to. We'll get to this throughout the card more. But you talked about this being a ladder match and what will it look like New Japan being a ladder match. Oh, my camera's out of focus.
You're good.
Me.
That was great. That was crazy.
Can you believe how well that works every
time?
Yeah. I will say they do seem, for better or worse, to maybe be loosening the hatches in some ways. So, we've seen the one triple threat happen for the title, which we didn't think we would see. We saw the surprisingly hardcore Kenta versus Tanahashi ladder match a couple years ago. We saw the no striking match that Shibata either went into business for himself or they sort of planned this, depending on who you hear. And then you had the War Dogs versus United Empire in the steel cage sort of war gamesy. They seem to be, there's a little more space for this stuff. And later on in the card, that's going to come back. So something to bring up. Mm-hmm. All right. IWGP Women's Championship. It's Mayu Iwatani taking on Azumi. There's just no reason to think that this won't kick absolute ass. I like watching Azumi wrestle.
Unless they give him like 6 minutes again or whatever it is. But
I actually completely forgot about it. I shouldn't say there's no chance. I should say given these two ability to collide. Yeah, who was it on that New Japan show? Was it a Mercedes match?
I think it was Kairi versus Iwatani.
That's what it was. Yeah, and it went legitimately like 6-7 minutes, I think. And
it was definitely Kairi. 95% sure is Iwatani. I'm giving myself a room of error there for any psycho who wants to call me out.
It's funny, man, because this feels like this should be eyeball gainers and ticket movers for them. Like they would do well to embrace the Stardom relationship.
Yeah, I mean, like a ladder match going into a high-end women's match is like a very good, hey, you're checking out New Japan for the first time, let's get you into it sort of vibe.
Absolutely.
And I would also imagine that they're probably like, like the idea of Wrestle Dynasty existing is to get North American fans, right? So, we'll see. Iwatani's retaining.
Yeah, that seems to be the. I don't want to act like I follow Stardom or their title scene. Yeah. It is beyond me, but I like watching both these women wrestle. I have watched tons of their matches, so looking forward to watching this one going down. I will also say Iwatani retains, but only because I don't know any better, and Azumi seems kind of small. So I'm like, maybe I will.
Yeah. Iwatani has a higher default overness on TEW, so
that's literally it. My entire pick.
Yeah.
Now we're into something I'm excited to watch. It's the New Japan World Television Championship, a divisive-looking belt. People, I feel like, still haven't made their minds about if this belt looks good or bad.
The big square.
The big square. It looks like a television.
Yeah.
Ren Narita is defending it against channel favorite Jeff Cobb, Ryohei Oiwa, And El Phantasmo, the recently returned El Phantasmo, great to see him back after a bout with illness and
Yeah.
getting a big reception. New Japan was ready to go in on him when he left, if I remember correctly, that he was moving to heavyweight and going to get a bit more of feature. So I hope that that can continue. And for that,
He had a great G1.
had a great G1.
Yeah.
He is, it's hard to, you hate to speak reductively about people, but in the modern style, and everybody knows what I like, El Phantasmo is as good as anybody outside of the very upper crust at it. And he has a lot of good character work and is an effective heel. Like there's stuff where he can make up that gap. Like I can see why they would see a lot in him.
Yeah. Anytime he works as a heel, I'm just like, yeah, you're from Vancouver.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah. He's like, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
Everybody loving Oiwa recently. Mike, you're on this bandwagon?
100%. I think I think the world's his oyster.
And it is.
Yeah.
Do you think they might put the strap on him here?
No, if I may make my prediction first, I think El Phantasmo is going to take it. I think. Okay, how do I word this? I think El Phantasmo was always primed to be broken out as like a major babyface.
Yeah.
In New Japan, like he was just getting geared up and ready towards it. And it's kind of unfortunate that this is the circumstance that makes the most sense to actually pull the trigger in, but sometimes you just like there's just so much goodwill behind him right now that it would make no sense not to.
Yeah, that is again when you're picking mid-card four ways, it's a crapshoot. Whoever they feel like going with is the answer. It's not like some big story beat that there is to be looking for here, but it's sort of this. Who do you want to take this next step? And I actually see the same as you. I think El Phantasmo is probably going to win this one here. I don't know that he needs to, but there's things that you can do in a return to have goodwill, even in a loss. Hey, I'm not back to 100% yet. And that can even be baby facing if that is the direction that they're heading. But I think that, so again, they like to put this belt on the America shows now and then, or even on Ring of Honor, this belt's been defended. And I think that El Phantasmo is, he could have like a Zack Sabre Jr.-ish run with it, where he can either be a main event of a show that isn't a big New Japan show, or a solid, like, almost like how the Intercontinental International titles should be, like these secondary, New Japan's lacking that. They got rid of their Intercontinental, and I just don't feel like the TV and Global have, properly filled that space.
The Global, it's so funny that we have an international, a global, and a world title. It's like they all mean the same thing. We got to have better naming conventions. At
least international it's like, okay, so the world is I also have the space. International implies countries, it's like, okay,
that's
the airspace
true.
is
That's
also
true.
world champions. But as soon as you get global
and world, yeah, there's
you guys got a problem. You got a world champion and global champion. You guys got to settle your scores. This town can only be big enough for the one of you.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the international distinction. That's pretty. I dig that.
Nations or lands.
It's only like who's representing the Pacific.
The global champion. I suppose the only person we can leave.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I got Phantasmo. El Phantasmo.
Would you believe it? Another stipulation match here, Mike. A lumberjack match this time. President Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of the universe, taking on Evil Incarnate. Evil. With the stipulation that if Hiroshi Tanahashi loses, he will not fulfill. He was going to do this year of retirement. Next year, WrestleKingdom is going to be his last date. He will not do it. He will retire on the 4th if he loses to Evil. Mike, do you think he will?
No, he's not going to lose.
Me neither. Yeah, as soon as he said that, I was like, huh? No, dude, we can see that they need you. Like you would be trotting out your carcass if they didn't need you. Hey, sweet, we know they can't afford to go to you right now.
It's so like I love the like pageantry behind it, because it's like, of course we're gonna look back, like Evil's just gonna squash Tanahashi, and we're gonna look back on this and eat our words for sure.
Everything is evil. Darkness falls. 1, 2, 3.
He shaves his head.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, like I think it's pretty clear from the get-go of this feud that Tanahashi was just like, this is going to be his last big Tokyo Dome win. He's probably going to retire next year at the Tokyo Dome. If Keiji Muto can get a retirement show and like do a retirement dome show, Hiroshi Tanahashi
leading to a dome show,
and
that tour leading up to the dome was like Noah's best business since Misawa was alive.
Yeah, man,
that's true. By the way, that's not me joking. Like that's true.
Well, now that Omos is there, that crown might be taken. But
I actually love
dude,
Omos going to Noah. That's
I love
awesome
it.
to
We can do another 2 hours on that at some other point.
yeah,
But
yeah.
with Tanahashi, yeah, it's gonna be it's like he's gonna go out and everyone's gonna know it. It's not gonna be in the middle of Wrestle Kingdom 19.
Yeah, I felt like they probably shouldn't have added that stip, but I get you sort of want to do something. With that
Yeah,
said, if these guys go full Hogan versus Rock, this match can actually be something. This is one of your most over baby faces versus probably your most over heel in the company. Although I do feel like crowd reactions are almost changing towards House of Torture to being much more positive lately. But
yeah. I mean, like I think people have just like it's almost like Stockholm syndrome. They've
you
like
have the
accepted
accepted
it.
stage of grief.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I do think that if they do a very methodical, slow, evil thing where Tanahashi can't get anything going, and maybe like he's begging for the Lumberjacks' help, all this sort of thing, you build that out. And then all you need from Tanahashi is like a sling blade out of nowhere, and then he looks exhausted again, but that's enough. Like a match like that where you really are bringing the people along for like you can give them almost no Tanahashi for most of it. I actually think they could do something good here for given how limited Tanahashi is. I think Evil is a pretty good dome opponent
Yeah,
for him, I guess is all I'm trying to say.
I agree. I agree. I'm trying to workshop this thing where it's like they combine the lumberjack match and the Rambo because it's like you get tossed out, then you just become a lumberjack. Or yeah,
It's actually not a bad. You should go talk to TNA in
I mean, I was gonna say
2007.
it is bad. It's probably, but it is like it's an upper tier TNA gimmick match for sure.
I do always make sure to say this though. Try and think of a new stipulation, you at home right now. It's so hard. I've gotten this question in mailbags before, and it's like I kind of appreciate companies trying. You get X Division matches or things that work for every King, and I don't think King of the Mountain's that hard. And I think it's embarrassing when people pretend that they can barely understand the rules to the King of the Mountain match. If you get pinned, you go to the penalty box. You must pin someone to be able to climb the ladder. It's not that hard. It's so complicated.
I mean, it like look how long it took for AEW to get the Casino Battle Royal right.
I say the exact same thing about that. People are like, oh my god, they come out in pods. How is it's the Royal Rumble and they're out in groups? This is so hard to understand.
Yeah,
Help
no,
me.
no, it's
I have one IQ.
yeah. Ugh.
I'll help you. I'll explain it. But either way, I actually think I don't think this is gonna be match of the night, obviously, but there's a way that they can milk the Ace versus Evil to have a loud crowd and sort of continue into the real juice. We're not quite there yet, though.
Dog.
It's the open weight championship. Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita. I think everyone has had this circled on their calendar since it was announced a couple months ago. Heavens above. What are these men going to do to each other, Mike?
It's gonna be insane. Takeshita is like it's gonna be fucked in like a obviously great way, but it's just like you talk about like obviously the conversation coming out of World's End, it's Ospreay doing like is he gonna do two 5-star matches in one night? Takeshita, like fucking this guy's gonna from World's End to spoilers, I think he's winning from to Kingdom to Dynasty. Like that's gonna be 3 absolutely electric matches as well. The Takagi one will be better than the Hobbs one, and probably will be better than the presumed Ishii one. But yeah, this is I'm so jacked up for this match. Like Takeshita in the G1 was already a dream come true, and like the one person on the other block that he didn't get to match up with is his Wrestle Kingdom match is just like insane. And I do think he's winning because not how do I word this? I can't see Shingo as international champion. Like that's basically
And it doesn't say it here, but my understanding is both belts are on the line. The
title for
championship
title
and
for
the international championship.
Yeah, title for title.
Yeah, you could see that G1 in New Japan saying, we want more Takeshita dates. And I would completely understand putting this title on him. And if you're getting some more Takeshita matches on, one-off shows here and there, that just works for New Japan. I actually prefer Takeshita in the New Japan environment. I think like if they signed him away from AEW in full, I would actually probably prefer that. I feel like they would book him better.
Yeah, well,
at least stronger.
He wouldn't be a jobber to the stars there. That's a throwback.
Maybe. I am excited though here. I hope these guys do like a Brock Lesnar, Keith Lee moment where Shingo, who is so used to being the stallion, the powerhouse, the brick wall, the train, looks up to Takeshita and is like, this is a big boy. Okay, I guess I've met my match. And we throw out Hoss battle, or we sort of know what that formula of match is, but I actually like them to go look into Shingo's past and do something more like what Shingo and Cobb did, where it's like a Hoss battle condensed. Like, can you imagine like a 12-minute sprint between Shingo and Takeshita? getting in all their stuff. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
really think that would be something to see. This doesn't
Yeah,
need
man.
to be a long epic. There's matches on the card that can do that. Let these guys go, dude.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely electric, and it's going to be my match of the night, like presumably. Uh, yeah, man. I don't know. Like Takeshita, like I love both these guys. Both these guys can absolutely go. They have like creative, inventive move sets that allow for like great counter wrestling, great chain wrestling. They are strong, big guys. Yeah, I mean, like what's not like anyone tuning in for this Wrestle Kingdom preview knows the weight of how insane this match is.
Without question. And I
Yeah,
think it's just whatever, or a qualifier you want to throw on it. It's a dream match,
yeah, 100%.
regardless of how we got here. And Takeshita 2 belts is a good idea.
Yeah, I think it'll be great for him.
The juniors are fighting. It's Dookie. I always forget. Taking on Dookie. Green Day
Is
style.
that Dookie? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, see, then you say it and you're like, well, I don't want to offend the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus putting his title on the line against El Desperado. There's no doubt this is going to be a great match, but I do hit this point on Wrestle Kingdom sometimes, or especially when you're up late. It's like, I've seen this one before. And a lot of the junior matchups have that. I do think, who doesn't like watching a Despy match? From what I understand, the Dookie Dowkie matches are, like, people are actually liking them quite a bit right now.
Okay.
I can't think of the last one I saw. It was probably whatever he did on Dominion, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Was he on Power Struggle? I watched all Power Struggle.
Ooh, I don't think so. Anyways.
But Desperado is as good of a challenger as they have for my interest in the junior division, maybe outside of Taiji Ishimori, but him and Hiromu are really spent at the top of that division, so I understand having it elsewhere. And I'm just guessing that they're gonna see a title change here, because why not? I feel like that is a title that changes, and I don't have a strong read on it or pay a ton of attention to this division, but I like El Desperado. Do you have more insight on this one, Mike? Any lean between these two guys?
I mean, former Suzuki-gun members, Dookie.
Suzuki-gun implodes!
Yeah, exactly. I think Dookie, first of all, he was on Power Struggle. He defeated Master Wado by referee's decision, which seems insane. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems the fanfare out of this Dookie run was Dookie. It's tough. It's tough. Every now and okay, let me reframe this. Every Wrestle Kingdom, I feel there's always at least one match on the card that effectively says to me, I'm not entirely sure why this is there, but I'm told both these people are very over in Japan.
Yeah.
And
this is
that's what this match is. Like El Desperado, I think it's like pretty well known that he's like a pretty big face of the junior division over there.
Yeah.
Can I go another Wrestle Kingdom with El Desperado winning the junior heavyweight title? I don't know. But I think he's probably going to win it. Like I think it's like a division that needs new challengers, but by getting new challengers, you need to have like a stable person at the top.
Sure.
And Despy's that guy.
And there we have it, a split decision for Mike and I.
Yeah.
Both predicting probably a good match here, though.
Yeah, it'll be pretty solid, I would imagine.
I wonder if we're predicting the same here. The aforementioned Global Heavyweight Championship is on the line. It's champion David Finlay, the leader of the War Dogs, which is really still just something, taking on Yota Tsuji, who this time last year I think was, my favorite of the next class of New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I feel like we all try to talk ourselves into enthusiasm for David Finlay sometimes. I see people do it where it's like, it's kind of like a Jay White sleazy thing going on. He leads a cool faction. Sometimes with great opponents, he has good matches. But I feel like I've seen enough. If this is a great match, I'll probably credit Yota Tsuji for it more than David Finlay. But I will say that they have my interest. I am so interested in the Yota Tsuji story that this is, must see.
Yeah. David Finlay's a weird one for me. I don't know if you recall at the end of our last year's Wrestle Kingdom review, but I said that he was good enough. Dude, he was in a triple threat with fucking Mox and Ospreay last year. That's insane. But he held his...
Has there ever been a clearer pin guy in a match? I'm asking that honestly.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, we've got Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, And who's this? The Bastion Booger.
Yeah.
We got the Bastion Booger as the third man in tonight's triple threat main event.
But I thought my takeaway from that, and I think it's on record on a Wrestling Brain review show, but David Finlay held his own enough in that match where he earned me 1 year of like proving himself. Okay.
How did you?
I think he did totally fine. I think I thought he had I thought his G1 was better than I thought it would be.
What was the one match he had that everybody really liked? I watched that with Fergie, and I was like, "This is all right." He had one like breakout match on the G1.
It wasn't the evil match? Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
yeah, but was it? I'm actually looking up his G1 right now. This is an interesting thing. Yota Tsuji beat him in the G1.
Okay, so we get a nice match here. Does Finlay get his win back?
What was it? Takeshita?
That certainly checks out.
Yeah. Like either way, I remember watching the G1 and being like, he's good. But I think the thing about David Finlay specifically is that he's overshadowed by Gabe Kidd in his own faction, which is obviously a detriment to himself.
And Alex Coughlin before that.
Yeah, but unfortunately for us, Alex Coughlin isn't a factor anymore. But I think there's no I think David Finlay has surpassed our expectations, but I think he's like at a point where I don't think he can surpass them anymore. So I think he's solidly I think he's a total fine heel faction leader who can comfortably have a secondary belt. I think that that
depends what you're trying to do. Me. It's the global. I don't feel like the global championship is going to get over around his waist, and I think that's his fault. I think that around someone else's waist, that belt would be more over.
Well, here's the other funny thing about the global heavyweight title: 3 reigns, only 2 people have ever held it. And it's been David Finlay and fucking Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, Ziggler, right? Of course. Ew, what a horrific lineage.
Yeah, so just because of that, I'm picking Tsuji.
Yeah, let's cleanse this thing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do whatever you did to Shibata's brain to this belt.
Well, it's so interesting when titles get established. I think the starting lineage is so important. Look at the international title, right? The Orange Cassidy long reign was incredible, but at some point you need to get just a couple names on it, I think Tsuji beginning the cleanse of the global title is worth it. I do think David Finlay, I will say, wrapping up my little tangent earlier, I think he has proved himself. I think he does belong where he belongs. I can't see him going any further up. But also, if they want to run a Zack Sabre Jr. David Finlay match at a B pay-per-view, it's that makes a ton of sense to me.
So sort of in a Minoru Suzuki Tachi role, a B challenger guy. Because I don't like him as much as those guys at all.
Yeah, but I think his matches are perfectly. There's just a lack of investment because it's hard to take him seriously. But
let's see if we can do it here for this one, man. I would love to feel him hated.
I'm ready to be proven wrong.
Get off and go over.
Yeah, well,
I am picking the Los Alfred New Japan representative.
I can't do the taunt.
Yota Tsuji.
There you go.
Has anyone in human history looked worse in hats than me? It's almost hard to figure out. What happened?
No, I look pretty bad in hats unless they're very specific dad hats.
You wear a hat 95% of the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's because I've sought out the ones that look good.
The specific ones. Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
But anyway, shout out to LIJ. Bought this hat with you in Japan.
Yeah.
And this brings us to not my most anticipated match of the evening, but one that I'm wondering, will New Japan do it in a very, very real way? It's Hiromu Takahashi takes on his faction leader, mentor, Tetsuya Naito.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Shout out. And Mike, as you well know, but just for the viewers at home, juniors don't beat heavyweights in New Japan. It does not happen. It's never happened. It won't happen.
Correct.
And yet, as I see the ladder match, as I see the lumberjack match, as I see triple threats, start to wonder if you were ever going to do it. Hiromu, since Jushin Thunder Liger, would probably be the guy who you could consider doing that with. Yes?
100%.
So what do you think? Do they have the bravery? Will they do it? Can Hiromu hit the time bomb 2 on Naito and pin him 1, 2, 3?
I think yes, he will.
Dude, yes. I want it.
Yeah, dude. Here's my And this is where it gets really fucking interesting because they've kind of been toying with Hiromu because so for those listening who are not as familiar with how New Japan works, they have weight classes, heavyweight, junior. There isn't actually a weight limit. You can just say you're in heavyweight now. You
Yeah,
know,
Shingo
like
Takagi
if
very
there was a
famously was a junior when he
yeah,
arrived to New Japan.
yeah, Drilla Maloney at this moment as well. Seriously, look up his
205
Instagram. It's
pounds is the limit.
fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just say that you're not. It's like, hey, I'm going to compete in heavyweight. Like, that's what like the Young Bucks did that when they moved from junior tag to heavyweight tags, and they did not put on any mass because they're still the tiniest men on the planet. But I think this is going to cement Hiromu actually moving to heavyweight, and
Oh,
and on top of that, he's kind of immediately your most over heavyweight babyface if that's the move. Which
dude, I hadn't even
really is
really
fucking
considered this would mark a permanent move to heavyweight.
yeah, and because
He'd
like
be
he's
the
done everything
smallest
you can.
heavyweight competitor ever.
Yeah, maybe. Well, is he bigger than Finn? Prince
Yeah,
Devitt.
Balor and Ishii are the guys that cross my mind. And I
Yeah,
know people don't think of Ishii as a small guy, but
Stone Pitbull. They're
Finley's
not
not
big
that
dogs.
big.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He looks big next to fucking. I mean,
Next to
actually,
Hiromu.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I think if Hiromu wins, they're gonna signal. Like, because what are they going to do? Have Hiromu win and just like be like, "Hey, I'm the guy in junior who beat a heavyweight," and then he just like mops the floor with everyone in junior.
It would be so funny if they just made him this, like, he's Taz of the junior heavyweight scene. No one can
Dude,
even survive him. They're all like
yeah,
3-minute matches. All these people he's wrestled 5, 6 times are just getting murked by. It's like, no, I'm a heavyweight now. I beat
yeah.
heavyweights. You're nothing to me.
So I think that's what's going to happen, and that's going to throw a real wrench into the whole like the new Musketeers and like all of that stuff, which is great because I think Hiromu versus anyone at the top of the heavyweight card right now is an absolute banger of a match.
Also throws a wrench
But
into Lij in terms of, after Naito, the presumed leader post retirement would be Shingo, but if Hiromu's at heavyweight,
yeah, man,
I think he would probably be more in line for that.
I don't think there's any animosity because that's not how Lij works in kayfabe, but it makes it real fucking interesting. Like that's for sure, and I think, but also there's like like a lot of like respect and honor and blah 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 blah. So I can see Naito winning just based on those credentials. But in terms of my like probably Americanized fantasy booking, going for the most interesting result, Hiromu winning is that for sure.
I love it, brother. You almost talked me into it. I'm gonna stay the course. Say they keep it a little boring, but they give Hiromu a lot. Like I think that it will. Naito might have to snatch one at the end of this, and maybe the day is still yet to come where Hiromu can beat Naito. We don't know that. Maybe that's a story they're planting for years to come. But I do know secondhand that Naito is not in good shape. I'm not one of these people who thinks Naito's washed. He put on 3 great matches this year. He had a bad one against Mox, and then he put on some classics. The Zack Sabre Jr. match is awesome this year. But obviously he doesn't have as much time in front of him as he does behind. And Hiromu, making Naito the way you have or making Naito the way you have Hiromu ascend would really be interesting to me.
Yeah, it's because like this was the planned match in 2020 before the pandemic, right? At the anniversary show, and I think doing it 5 years later kind of recontextualizes it in a way that like it probably would have been sick if it happened 5 years ago because you would have gotten a bit more of a prime Naito. But,
and Hiromu was arguably a little hotter than I feel like.
Yeah, but that's just I think the lack of hotness is the statement on the fact that he's done everything in junior.
Yeah, there's no division for him.
Like, yeah,
nothing
exactly.
to do.
Yeah, so that reinforces my outlandish, but
I love it.
I would love to say I told you so because I love saying that. Let's put it that way.
I would love it too because I love that result, and I will shake Gato's hand and I'll say, "Good work, sir. Nice work, brother."
There's a small man, Gato.
Yeah, that's a tiny guy.
Yeah, very tiny.
I'd crush him with my hand. Destroyed. Wearing a Godzilla shirt. I'd be like Godzilla in this situation. Main event time, Mike. Zack Sabre Jr. puts his IWGP Heavyweight Championship on the line against the Shooter, Shota Umino, in the house. Lots of discussion about this match and whether it's worthwhile of a WrestleKingdom main event or can Zack headline on his own? Is it that Gaijin has never won the big one at WrestleKingdom?
Yeah, true.
Which way do you see this sword swinging, and how do you feel? Could you? Let's frame it this way: could you go with Shota Umino here, Mike?
I think the match is going to be absolutely electric.
Yeah,
electric is like my word of the month, apparently, or word of the show at least.
It happens.
But I think yes, Zack Sabre Jr. is going to retain. If not, just getting his win back from the G1, which is what happened. I am looking at it right now. But I guess that's why Shota has the title shot as well, right? Yeah. Like he pinned him in the Z1, the G1. Z1 works. It's Zack Sabre Jr.
That's right.
The bigger story coming out of this
at some point in time.
Oh yeah, 100%. Fucking dickhead Z1. Sorry, the bad accents, but
I don't think any English people watch this, so they're coming to your house to kick your ass for that one. No, they couldn't, so that's also
fine. I'll just say it's from some region no one's ever heard of, and they'll be like, yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, so what I was gonna say is that the most interesting thing about this match is like it's like sink or swim for Shota, right? Like he's been treading water in a way that like I'm quite frankly like pretty blown away by how polarizing he is in the Discord.
Sure.
The Wrestling Brain Discord. I would plug it, but this is behind a paywall anyways. Yeah, they know. So
thank you for your support, everybody.
Yeah. I think he has everything that he needs to. Like it's obviously just a fan connection and stuff like that. Which I know I say that in passing. It is an important thing, but like as I said off the top, Gato doesn't book like that.
Yeah, true.
Like
he's a confident booker, for better or worse.
Yeah, like if he sees something in someone, he'll give them a shot. Like that's why he has the main event of WrestleKingdom as well. Like Shota Umino's main eventing the Tokyo Dome. Like not many people get that so soon, right? And it's like I think there's like a greater story to tell with Umino losing and maybe actually fully going down a path of darkness. And like maybe this leads to a heel, like a proper heel. I know we had our heel discourse, but like a true heel run. And now that Zack Sabre Jr. is a bit more of like a card carrying babyface these days, I can see that being what happens. And Zack Sabre Jr. being the first Gaijin to win a Tokyo Dome main event, I think is sick.
Yeah, and it feels like if anybody sort of has earned that level of loyalty or shown that level of loyalty and is maybe owed a debt for that, Zack Sabre Jr. certainly feels among them. So Gabe Kidd's sort of in his mold in the way that he's steadfast. Like, I don't want to wrestle for AEW. I don't want to wrestle for WWE. Like, I like the lion mark. And that was always what I associated with Zack Sabre Jr. It's like, no, this is my house. So I'd like to see that rewarded. I don't have a great read on this match, to be honest. I could understand the line of thinking of going either direction. My thinking towards a Shota Umino win here, which is ultimately my pick, is that Chaos is without a guy, and I could see Shota Umino taking over Chaos. And in order for him to do that and get factioned up, he needs a win. And so I think this is the crowning moment. He gets the championship, he gets a faction, and he becomes, for better or worse, the guy that New Japan is going with. And the reason I think this is because I think last year they thought this year we have to build to a guy, and he's going to go with that one way or another. And I don't know how long Shooter will have it, but as he gets more and more on steroids, he only looks more and more like Tanahashi, which probably doesn't hurt his chances either. And so I am picking the split here again, Mike. I love when this happens. You've got Sabre Jr. retaining, and I've got Umino winning in what I think, though, is going to be an outstanding match.
It's going to be fantastic.
This is going to be good. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is a guy who knows how to show out, especially lately. He really feels in his pocket. I like that he's sort of adding more striking flourishes and like big man moments in his, like fighting like a champion. And I just think that they know what's on the line here. People don't feel like this is a deserved main event, and they have to make that right, and I think they will.
100%. And I guess we can segue this into a teaser for the next show on Wrestle Dynasty. But the other reality about this is that this match, probably more than any other match on the card, is part of a 2-night story between these two shows.
Totally
because both of these guys, like obviously there's some crossover. Like the winner of Takeshita Shingo is facing Ishii. I think Yota Tsuji's facing Jack Perry. And by think, I mean I know Yota Tsuji is facing Jack Perry with or without the global title, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino are the only two people who are like in like the only full match that has confirmed two different matches the next night. So we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet and Shooter versus Claudio.
Which is going to be a big win. I expect him to beat Claudio, who's been built up like a monster lately.
But here's the thing. Zack retains. Shooter loses to Claudio. He's the lowest he's ever been.
Yeah.
That's a fucking story to start the year off.
Yeah, that's true too, especially if you consider Claudio sort of the number one Mox acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ways you can go, and that's how you want to book. They've put themselves in a good position in that way.
Not to preview my pick on that match for Wrestle Dynasty preview, but I'm being consistent. Let's put it that way.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we'll of course talk more about that on our Wrestle Dynasty preview out tomorrow. Thank you, Mike, for coming on. Thank you all for viewing. I'm so excited for this weekend, man. And I love doing these preview shows. They only help get me more hype. I will remind everybody, if you want to win one of these beautiful Wrestling Brain holographic stickers, you cannot buy them. You cannot be given them. You can only win them. You must go perfect in a prediction pool. But luckily for you, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, and that goes for me too. That's thanks to World's End right there. That's 8 for 8 on World's End.
Well, yeah, it's because when you got them printed, they were like, we're only going to give these to you if you can predict. They were Forbidden Door, correct? Yeah, I know the company.
Yeah, they're abundantly clear on this. So make sure I'll get the pick'em sheet up by the time you're watching this. That'll be there behind the paywall. Get in there, make your picks, win a sticker, live forever. Mike, anything you want to say? What's Hotel Mirror up to? Where can people? I know you guys are chilling right now, but what's up next?
When's this coming out?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll do an exclusive here. So on January 1st, which is Wednesday, we're going to be announcing our next record, which is coming out in March. So
that's an exclusive.
That is an exclusive. So we recorded it in secret, and the entire optics of it were just
secret. I knew, obviously.
Yeah, well, I think you did know, actually.
You were going to the studio the day after we went to the bar.
Right, yeah. But so the optics of it was basically just feel like we want to outwardly forward present as we're so locked into our last record cycle. So when we announce our next record, people are like, what the fuck?
What the hell?
Yeah, so we're announcing that on Wednesday, and WrestleKingdom listeners get it here the day before.
Well, I'll be listening. Scoots will be listening. Many others
will be listening, yeah. I think I might have told Scoots already, but either way. But I know, just like it's half open secret. If you know me, whatever. What was I going to say? And then tour with Our Lady Peace, and then I think we're going to be announcing some American stuff soon. That isn't confirmed yet, so I can't leak that.
The American stuff is he'll be visiting Red Lobster. That's right, folks. He's going to go try Red Lobster for the first time in his life.
Hell yeah.
Mike, thank you so much, brother. Everybody watching this, we'll see you in the Discord.
All right, see you in the Discord.
Love and energy.